Hi, everybody. Welcome to ASIS TV with your host, Chuck Harold of SecurityGuardRadio.com, SecurityGuardTV.com. My next guest, Mr. Tim Crockett, speaker at GSX this September in Las Vegas. He'll be speaking about managing a Tim, I'm a little tongue-tied today. Managing a global workforce in crisis. I'm in crisis. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, it seems like this is the flavor of the day. There's always a crisis going on every single day, literally. And when you talked about this sort of thing or business continuity 20 years ago, people rolled their eyes at me when I said we should be prepared. Boy, if you're not prepared now, you have a problem. Tell us what your lecture's about.
So obviously the area of business that I'm in today and have been for the past 20, 25 years now is travel risk management in one form or another. I've come from the high risk environment arena where I've looked after journalists and frontline humanitarian workers in far-flung places. Today, I work for a company that provides travel risk management to a wide variety of companies. And historically, the focus when we talk about travel risk management has always been sort of geared towards crisis management or the repatriation of personnel after an event has occurred that may have negatively impacted the organization. Today, it's more about being proactive and ensuring that an organization attends to its, what we call today, duty of care, that ensures the safety and well-being of its employees, regardless of where they are around the world.
Well, that's so important. I remember we used to have some extraction contracts with some insurance companies when I was at Disney, and if we didn't have an extraction plan, our insurance went way up, and we had to be really prepared for able to get executives out from anywhere in the world when that was going on. What would the people attending your lecture gain from this? What kind of insight are they going to get listening to you speak?
So duty of care, whatever title you want to give it, a robust travel risk management program sort of attends to risk throughout the organization. Even here today at GSX, there's an overwhelming theme of enterprise risk management. And we want to look at things more in a holistic way that not only attends to when things go wrong or when bad things happen, and yes, that contingency type program, but we want to sort of empower the organization from its lowest level. And obviously the high risk element of that is our employees. So what we try to do is look at what can be done to marry and scale a robust program that attends to the entire life cycle of overseas travel, whether that's business, an expatriate worker going on a long-term assignment, or anything in between. It means that we can start to look at risk in a positive way. In the past, again, risk has been associated with something bad, anxiety, all the things that could go wrong. While if you turn that on its head and attend to the various elements, you're going to make the organization more resilient. And obviously, the additional benefits that come with that, the recruitment and retainment of a better workforce, a workforce that is more focused on their primary task rather than distracted by risk or slightly concerned with what could go wrong. And to be honest, when we look at sort of 24-hour news today, we're force-fed all of this bad stuff happening all over the world. And really, it's about knowing what you're going into and what can be done to sort of mitigate that risk in order to have a business advantage.
So when I did travel analysis at the studios, I was the guy, right? I know how to do this back in the 90s. Nobody else knew how to do it. With the onset of the internet and access to data everywhere, how much of your job is education and feeding your employees information they can use in the field when you're not there to help? And how much of it is the prep work, setting up that extraction team ahead of time? Have the employees been able to better handle their own situation in a crisis now because of all this information we have available?
Well, most organizations are made up of quite a diverse employee base. Some are what we call road warriors, that they know their way around They may have traveled extensively and are pretty street smart. Then you have those that are new to the organization. Perhaps they're about to go out on their first overseas assignment. It may be the first time that they're outside of their home country. So you need a program that will accommodate all of that. And like I said, it has to start with educating and empowering the employee, giving them the tools and the confidence. So again, they're not distracted when they do travel or they're on an overseas assignment. And they have to have the confidence that should something go wrong, whether that's man-made, whether that is and some sort of natural occurrence, that they know what to do, that they have the tools that will work with the program, and obviously that the organization has the support in place to get them the assistance that they need. So it all has to fit together. I think in the past, some organizations have approached this perhaps more from a compliance perspective, where they thought, right, okay, we need to attend for that black swan event that may happen, and we have to have this box checked in order to not get into trouble or have our insurance premiums go through the roof. So it's about, yes, it's about all of that, but building it into this enterprise risk model and making sure that it works for you, again, to empower the organization, make it more resilient, rather than, oh, we have to do it because the law says so, or it's kind of frowned upon if we don't. So you've got to look at turning it into something that works with the organization at every level, than just an afterthought.
Those are great points. Now, the world, given the situation in the world today, how do we define a crisis these days? I mean, we have a shooting every day in the United States. We have something that's impacting almost everybody we know. What would the definition of a global crisis be? I guess the question is, are they really regional crisis now that we're dealing with?
Well, a crisis means a different thing to a different organization or even to a different individual. What is a crisis to someone that is perhaps stranded because of an earthquake and tsunami in a foreign country versus a product that perhaps has been tainted with? So you have an individual incident or crisis, as you would an incident or a crisis that would impact an organization. So there are a lot of worldwide events. There are acts of terrorism. There are incidents of concern. If an organization has attended to kind of this holistic approach to risk, what is at risk for the individuals that work for that organization? What is perhaps a risk, a threat to the organization? And they've got a system to deal with it and respond to these risks based on what they feel is their risk profile and their acceptance to certain levels of risk. Then, in my opinion, those sort of organizations very rarely suffer a crisis because they've seen the sort of the red flags and they've stepped in and they've done something about it. Like I said, providing they have a good, robust system in place, whether that's travel risk management or anything else, depending on the type of work they do or where they do it in the world, they should be able to deal with most of these situations. And again, when you look at what happens around the world today, it's about marrying that against the likely impact to you, your organization, your people, and then obviously doing something about it, managing that risk or mitigating that risk as best as you can. So you shouldn't suffer a crisis.
Mr. Tim Crockett, he's a session speaker spotlight at GSX this summer in Las Vegas, powered by ASIS. Mr. Tim, thanks for coming on the show, and I look forward to meeting you at GSX. Come by the booth and say hi.
Thanks, Jack. I look forward to it.